And good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us. We're getting ever closer to March Town Meeting Day, coming up on March 5th. And we have a lot of shows coming your way, talking about issues, especially for the Swanton, St. Albans, Highgate towns, and talking to candidates in contested races. And happy to have two of those candidates before me right now. Nicole Draper, an incumbent select board member for the town of Swanton, and her challenger, Alllen Letourneau. And thanks, folks. Appreciate you coming on. Alllen, I'll give you the first word here and maybe end with Nicole at the end of the show. Give us a background. Tell us about yourself and how you happened to make a bid for a Swanton Select Board seat.
Okay. My name's Alllen Letourneau. I was born and raised in Swanton, Vermont. A little bit of history about myself is I got many years of experience in the trucking industry, management, a little bit of farming. I think that's all I can think of right now.
Yeah, have you ever run for office before?
I never ran before.
That's right. So what prompted you to jump into this one?
What interests me was the way the boards were acting on TV and the issues about the police department and how they wanted to raise money for this new building when there was other options they could have followed or done.
And you're talking, just to be clear, you're talking about the public safety building, the new public safety building in Swanton Village, or when you say...
No, I'm talking about the public safety building. Yes.
Okay, because that's an issue, of course, before Swanton Village voters.
Yeah. There's other avenues they could have took without bringing this up the way they did. It fired up everybody. It got me fired up. That's why I'm running. And I think there's the town and the village needs some new ideas, some new blood. And I just want to be part of it. I can't just sit back and watch.
Hey, good for you. Nicole, tell us about yourself. Of course, you're on the Swanton Select Board as we speak.
I am on the Swanton Select Board. I was appointed to my chair in 2020. I have been up for election twice and have been elected into my seat. I really enjoy serving the town of Swanton. I got involved very similarly to Mr. Letourneau. There were some issues that I felt needed some more attention, new ideas, and what better way to help make those things happen than by being involved. So I feel that there is still a lot more work to do, and that's why I'm continuing to run to be on the select board.
Right. And your work background, you have a key position with the Swanton Recreation.
I am the executive director for Swanton Recreation.
Is that the one paid job with the Rec Commission, or one full-time job? Or?
It is a full-time job.
Yeah.
I do a lot of the admin, a lot of the non-athletic programming. I do a lot of youth work with the Recreation Center, community events, collaborating with community partners, bringing resources into the community for residents. And prior to that, I was an entrepreneur. So.
Interesting. How are you going about campaigning? Has this been an active campaign for you, or?
I'm probably slow to the get with that. Yeah. I see Mr. Letourneau has some lovely signs throughout town already. I really just getting out and meeting people and talking to people is how I've spent most of my time campaigning, and just sharing my thoughts and ideas. And like I tell everybody, my phone is like an open door. So if anybody ever had any questions, comments, concerns, to please always reach out.
Yeah. Alllen, how are you going about? Tell us about your campaign. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been going door to door. That's how I started, and I got all my signatures by going door to door, except a few from like stores that I left a ballot, or is it a ballot?
Petition
for people to sign. But it was very interesting meeting all the people, and listening to what they had to say about the town and the village.
And what are you hearing about the town? What's most on people's minds about the town?
Well, first of all, they can't handle a tax increase. It's just crazy. Nobody can afford it. They can't understand why a board would even think about putting that on a ballot.
And when you say, can you be more specific? What are you talking about specifically? Again, you mentioned the public safety building. That's an issue before Swanton Village voters.
I'm still talking about that.
Right, but that is a Swanton Village issue, kind of more than a town. I realize that maybe
It's a
feeds in
town
together
issue
a
as
bit.
well.
Yeah. Of course,
And-
I guess we should know, and we'll talk about it. On the ballot for town voters is of course, the request to fund police coverage, Nicole.
Correct.
And that is up quite a bit. I don't know if Allen's getting into that.
It is up substantially. The contract that we currently have is for 8 hours of coverage and
7 days a week. Right?
7 days a week, from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. and or 1 a.m. And what we've been hearing from residents and taxpayers is that they don't see a lot of police coverage, police presence, and we brought those concerns to the Swanton Village Police on numerous occasions, and what they're doing how it was presented to us, what they're doing is to bulk up their staffing a little bit and to make it a more equitable for their employees. And so they proposed to us this year a 10-year contract, or a 10-hour contract, excuse me.
10 hours a day,
10
7
hours
days
a
a
day,
week.
7 days a week. And that's what the increase is a substantial increase.
So
in
you would
coverage.
there would be more police coverage, 2 more hours a day.
Correct.
Okay, the proposal for the record, before voters in Swanton Town, the select board wants to fund the police department, looking for about $475,000. Allyn, sounds like you think that's too much. Do you feel there should be any? Would you be comfortable with no police coverage, or what?
Well, I got to give you a little bit of history about
Okay.
that. My understanding is we currently have a contract for $196,000 for 8 hours versus 10 hours. It was my understanding that the police department would not cover or support the town anymore unless we went to 10 hours. So the town is getting forced to pay $475,000, which is a shame because I lived in Swanton for, 62 years, and we've always supported Swanton Village Department. So I don't understand why now, all of a sudden, just because they want to go to 10-hour shifts, they can't support the town anymore.
Nicole, you want to jump into? It sounds like I guess some folks would say the town was getting a very good deal on police coverage for a lot of years. But how you tell me? What are your thoughts on? It is a significant increase.
It is a significant increase, yes. Law enforcement services are costly, as you can see with most communities that have full-time coverage. Not only that, but the cost of everything has increased. And one of the things notably that the Swanton Village Police Department is now, one of their largest increases is that they're having to pay for dispatch. For years, we had received that coverage, or they had received that coverage from the Vermont State Police. So there is a larger increase there. But I also believe that there was a change in how they determined the cost for the contract, and I can't, Mr. Sheets would have more of an explanation on exactly what that was, but overall, just the cost of service was going to increase because of the cost of living.
Yeah. So, Allyn, what's the end? If that's a proposal, if it's an all or nothing thing, hey, if you want continued coverage from Swanton Village PD, here's what it's going to take. What do you
What do I propose?
Yeah, what do you propose?
We just stay with the state police.
Stay with the state police? I'm
Yeah.
not sure you're getting much coverage from the state police. I mean,
Well, I think
they're
it's
of course
gonna-
hurting for, they're just I think they're down. Bill Sheets, of course, a former longtime VSP guy. I think he tells us that they're down like 60 or 70 positions. You know, are you that comfortable you'd get what you would need from state police?
Well, it's no different than what we're getting from the village.
Well, I mean, you're getting 8 hours a day from the village, are you
Well,
not?
that's what they're saying, yes.
Yeah, I'm not, you know,
Remember, one of the complaints was, when I went door to door, is nobody sees the cops.
Yeah.
Nobody sees them in the town.
I guess my question is, but if you in fact did not get that coverage from state police, isn't that a concern that you might be getting just no coverage? I mean,
No, I just think that we need to push back to Bill Sheets.
Bill Sheets being the Swanton Village
Yeah.
manager, of course.
And let them know that we run this town, not Bill Sheets.
Interesting. Let's talk a big issue before Swanton, and Nicole, and I should note one other thing. We do have another contested race for the Swanton Selectboard. Joel Clark, who I guess was appointed last year when Ed White stepped down. Joel Clark is in a contested race, now on the board, being challenged by Amy Raymond. I'll be talking to those folks also for a one-year term, unexpired term. So one other contest, and Earl Fournier, the Swanton Select Board Chairman, running unopposed for a 3-year term. Just wanted to mention that. Of course, the big issue that the Select Board's been spending time with, and you know this better than anybody, is the proposal for a new community recreation center, not on the ballot for March 5th town meeting. Does it
Correct.
sound like, are you hoping to get that on the ballot for November? Is that the hope or possibility anyway?
It is my hope, yes. We are, as the Recreation Commission, we are working very hard with the Select Board and the town offices to find a grant writer and to look at different fundraising strategies so that we can cut the cost as much as we can to the taxpayers before we bring it for them, to make sure that we've really got all of our plans put in place. And so I think that's the best way to go at it, as the taxpayers are receiving so much at town meeting day this year.
Right. Again, you feel this is something very much needed. You're strongly in favor of this. Again, you're kind of right in the middle of this with a key position, but is this something that Swanton could really use?
I believe so. The community has asked us for it. Since the Council on Rural Development, the Swanton visit in 2015,
Yeah,
it has
great
been
visit.
it has been a topic of discussion. And it was really something that we have always been exploring, has been a conversation at the rec department, and we had the courage to come to the select board to bring the idea forward, and it was well received. And again, we want to make sure that we're doing all of the planning and making sure that it will be a feasible project for the community.
Right. Allyn, any thoughts on that? Again, that's not on the ballot on March town meeting. Again, might be on the ballot in November. Thoughts on that?
I got a few. I don't oppose it, but we can't afford it. Okay, for one
And when you
thing.
say you can't afford it, you feel you can't afford doing anything more than is being done now?
No, I just think that we need to create some type of revenue to bring our tax base up, so we can look at other options to maybe make it a little larger so we can get more revenue out of the project instead of the projection that I've seen. It's not really much profit, but there's more that could be done. And the other issue I have with it is, I know, Nicole, you've done a good job with it and everything, but there's a conflict of interest. You know, you're getting paid to run this community center, and then you're asking the taxpayer for money.
Nicole, I'll give you a chance to address that.
Sure.
Do you run into that issue once in a while, or?
People may think that there's a conflict of interest. So
Yeah.
what I do is I provide the information to my board of directors, and then they're the ones that coming forth to ask the select board. And I have recused myself from every vote, and I have abstained from every decision that was been made by the select board on that matter, because I feel that is the best thing. So again, I'm only providing information to the recreation board, and then they're taking that information and using what they feel is relevant out of
Okay.
it for the select board.
Alan, does that
Yeah.
does that make you feel any better, or is that?
No, the perception is still there, though.
I understand.
And the taxpayers need to understand that. They need to understand, everything that's involved in it. That you're getting paid to bring this up, the community center, to make it bigger and better. But
For the record, voters in the town of Swanton will make the final decision on this, Alan.
that's right, but we cannot afford it right now. We need to build up our tax revenue so we can afford stuff like that. Everybody would like to have all kinds of new stuff, or new buildings and new businesses. But nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to just spend.
So I work very hard at creating and generating programs to build revenue for the recreation department.
Examples?
Summer camp. We had never previously had such a robust summer or day camp program, as childcare is consistently an issue in our region. Offering that camp care is a way that we've been able to generate revenue for the recreation department, and it is limited because of the limit that we have on space. Other programs are different athletic programs that we've been working on, where we've got a whole slew of things that we're rolling out this year as far as summer clinics and camps, as well as adult leagues and adult programming. But again, it is very difficult with our limited space. We've also been working on different avenues for outdoor recreation and how to promote that to folks throughout the region, throughout the state, to bring in tourism and those people into our community so they can spend money at our local businesses.
Have you received any negative, what are you gonna do about that?
In the 3 years that I've been there, I've seen very limited negative situations, such as drug use. I think our facility is very safe. We have had an increase in youth coming to our facility, an increase of adults coming to our facility. This past Friday, when there was a half day of school, I had 15 young people that chose to want to be there, and
That's good.
they were there for 6 hours.
Okay.
So
But it's still an issue. We still have that problem.
Alan, I guess I've got a lot of other issues I
Okay.
want to move on to. You mentioned, and I'll start with you, you mentioned revenue sources, and I've certainly talked to Earl Fournier, the Swanton Selectboard Chair, about this from time to time. Any thought, what about a local option tax? St. Albans City and St. Albans Town have St. Albans Town's funded their new town hall with revenue from a local option tax, their new public works garage. Is that something that might be worth giving some thought to get some new revenue? Obviously, people are paying something for that, but again, you get a lot of folks from not living in Swanton who would be contributing to that. Is that a thought?
Well, that is something that I would look at, but before I would do that, I would look at probably finding a way to lower gas to help the community, and something like a Cumberland Farm coming into town to make more revenue, so we don't need to have that type of tax. Another thing that came to mind, I know a lot about grain. I'd like to see like a distillery, a huge distillery, where we could make some beer, some liquor, and we would have a place for farmers to bring their corn to be, sold, and there's all kinds of stuff that we could do before we try to tax the people again.
Nicole, local option, has that come up before the select board?
Yep, so we have spoken with the village trustees. We brought up the idea at one of our joint informational meetings. It is something that we are exploring more. There is quite a process to adopting a local option tax.
And of course, the state's more than happy to take its share of, I think, 30% of
They
that.
do take-
This, of course, being 1 extra cent on the sales tax is what we're talking about.
Correct, they do take their administrative fees for it. I do think it's something that could be a successful way to start building a capital improvement fund for the community, to have for some of these larger infrastructure projects.
Alllen, you mentioned you're not happy with the proposal to spend the money being proposed for police protection. What about other articles on the ballot? Are you okay with, again, the proposed expenditures for what, town highway, fire protection, town general expenses, and a couple of items related to the Swanton Public Library? Have you got any concerns? While you look at that, Nicole, you're on the select board, you're comfortable with the ballot items, what you folks have proposed?
We have worked tediously on the budget to make sure that it's something that we feel is worthy to put forth to the voters. The cost of everything has gone up in the past few years. So that's something that we've had to really manage and make sure that we're holding accountable. And I think that we've done a really great job on the budget this year.
Alllen, you want to jump into anything else you have issues with?
Yeah, I got a couple of things.
Down to about 5 minutes left, folks.
Oh, jeez. Let me pick a good one.
No, I want you to pick one. Actually, while you're still pondering, Nicole, there are 2 articles on the Swanton Public Library.
Sure.
And why 2? Can you get into that? And I know the library's got some physical, I guess, condition issues.
There are some building maintenance issues at the library. So a few years back, their library employees became part of the town. They became town employees, so our librarians could get health insurance. And then the town took back over the responsibility of the building. So that's why you'll see 2 line items there on the ballot. One is for the employees and maintenance of the building, and then the 70,000 is just the operating of the library itself.
Okay, so library employees are now town. That's a fairly recent development, are now official
Correct.
town employees.
Correct.
Alllen?
Article 4.
Yep, that's shall the town appropriate, of course, police, we talked about that before. You want to talk about, we've talked about that before. What do you want to say about police now?
That's it.
Okay, that's your
As long as we
main,
covered it enough.
yeah. But the other, I was asking about the other articles. No problem with the other articles?
Well, I got problems with them, but we only got 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, tacked down to about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Nicole, the issue of a merger between the village and town, I think that comes up once in a while. Does that come up often or not too much?
I hear a lot of people asking about it. There was a study put out years ago, and I think a lot of people have educated themselves on it. I think there's ways that we can collaborate together to improve the way things work in Swanton. I'm not sure one way or another if a merger is the right way.
Yeah. How do you feel Swanton Town, Swanton Village relations? I think the boards get together once in a while anyway. Do you feel those relations are decent, or should be, what do you think? I
feel that they are decent. As there's room for improvement everywhere for every situation. It's very hard because they are very different. Swanton Village is very different from Swanton Town.
Yeah.
And a lot of people still are unaware of those differences. So it's really important to educate yourself on what those are.
Yeah. Allyn, what about a merger? Any thought, think a merger would be a good idea or not?
Well, at this time, probably not, because what I know about it is there's a group of people that will fight it right to the end, and they don't want a merger. Why, I don't know.
Anybody have any magical solutions to the truck traffic? Another huge issue for Swanton. Hopefully things might get a little better when north of the border, when they do the last segment of the interstate like highway north of the Highgate Springs port of entry. I guess that's the hope, but again, just one of those things, Nicole, it's a tough issue.
It is a tough issue. I do think when they finish the things north of the border, that could change, especially with things diverting through the Highgate border crossing and not using the Champlain border crossing. I do think that the village is working on a great proposal to reconstruct downtown a little bit, which will make it a little less challenging in the downtown area.
We'll see. Down to a minute. Give you 30 seconds, Allyn, or less. Make your case very quickly. Why are you a good person to get elected to the select board?
Well, I have new ideas, and I just want everybody just to give me a chance. Thank you.
Fair enough. Nicole, I'll give you 30 seconds if you want. Make your case.
Swanton is really important to me. I chose Swanton to be my home, to raise my family, and I am committed and dedicated either on or off the select board and serving the people of Swanton.
Very good. I really appreciate you folks coming on the show. Again, town meeting day, not far away, folks. Talking Tuesday, March 5th, and you can vote early if you want, but a lot going on in Swanton and the town and village, and many thanks to Nicole Draper, a Swanton Select Board member, and her challenger, Allyn Letourneau. Thanks a lot for the time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thanks to my producer, Paul Snyder, doing all the hard work back there. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. We appreciate you watching us here on Northwest Access TV. See you next time.